Okay, come here, Tora. Let's talk about our OBE lucid dreams. You want to? Want to, Tora? Okay, so... okay, this morning I had 2 out-of-body experiences, lucid dreams. And, let's see. Okay, so the first one goes like this. Okay, so like, I don't even, like, watch the news or anything, because I'm sick of hearing that bullshit about coronavirus. Yeah, we just sick of hearing that bullshit, aren't we, Tora? Aren't we, Tora? So, but last night, I was watching the news, and then it was like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and then, I don't know, that maybe, is that tilted up too much? Okay, but, and at the bottom of the screen, they're like, Walmart's gonna start limiting the people. You know, you're supposed to like wait in line or something. I thought it started today on April 4th, but my mom said that they weren't doing it. So I guess they changed their mind. You know, start limiting the number of people so you guys sit there and wait in line. And there can only be like 5 people per 1,000 square foot. But they're not, it's supposed to start today, but my mom said they weren't doing it. I guess there wasn't a big long line or not a lot of people. They're stupid. Like, they're sitting there trying to create shit and it's not working. They're trying to create fear and it just isn't working. Because, like, I've only seen one panicky person out of the whole, this has been going on for like over a month now. I've only seen one panicky person. She looked about my age, maybe a little older, maybe a little younger, but she had a mask on, and that was at Aldi's. That was like 2 weeks ago, and you could tell she was panicky. She looked like, oh my God, I'm gonna get a virus, I'm gonna get a virus. But like, that's the only person I've seen, and I've been to the store a million times. Like all the other people I've been seeing, you could tell they're just like, la 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 la. Like, you could just tell they're taking it with a grain of salt. Because subconsciously, they know it doesn't exist. But, yeah, so anyway, that's what triggered this out-of-body experience, lucid dream. But it was fun, man. Man, all my lucid dreams, out-of-body experiences are fun. So anyway, so I was just like, I mean, like, they're trying to create all this fear and it's not working. But at the bottom of this TV, it said, Walmart's gonna start limiting like 5 people per 1,000 square foot. And it was supposed to start today. Hello, it's April 4th. It said April 4th. But my mom went in there today and they didn't start it yet. Because they're not getting, you know, a lot of people going into the stores. And today I went to the neighborhood market store and they just had all these carts like, yeah, it's like, oh, they just want you to enter like one way. And it's like so stupid. And then I noticed, but they weren't like trying to count the people to go in there or whatever. But, and then in the neighborhood market store on the floor, I noticed they had like these arrows. You know, I guess you're supposed to walk like one way, you know, like only one. But nobody was abiding by it or whatever. But, and it was pretty busy. Aldi's was fairly busy. Walmart was neighborhood market store was pretty busy. Where else did I go? And Price Cutter was pretty busy. But normally I don't go to the store at, you know, 1 o'clock. Normally I go late. So that's why it was so busy, because I went kind of early. Yeah, so I started having all these thoughts, like, what is it going to be like going into Walmart as of today? I think some places are going to start on, oh yeah, Price Cutter I think is going to start on Monday. They're going to try to limit the people that go in there or whatever at a time. But, so I started having all these thoughts. So then this morning, this lucid dream I had before 8 o'clock. Because then I woke back up and I'm like, well, I want to sleep another couple hours. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to fall back to sleep, but I did. And that's when I had the other awesome one where me and Truman and Tora and Hannah were walking around a college campus forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And even, okay, so even the Walmart one, I was probably in the scenario, at least non-3D time, like longer than well, let's say longer than an hour, I would say, in non 3D time. So it started out like this. Did they just barf over there? Ah, dang it. Okay, so it started out like this. I was okay, so the whole scenario, I only stayed in just the food section. Sometimes I get this dry cough, but I've gotten it many times before. It's like a dry cough. It's like, I don't know, like when I'm having, when it's time for me to eat, I get like a dry cough. It's really weird. And so like, okay, so in the scenario, it started out like this. Man, I know another scenario is coming back to. Oh yeah, well that was several days. That was a few days ago. I don't know what it was. 2 days ago maybe. I was it was like me and my sister. We were at what do you call it? An ocean. We were at a beach. I mean, a beach. Yeah, but I don't know. Some of these are really hard to talk about because the more time goes by, sometimes you forget a lot of little pieces. But that was fun too. That was like a couple days ago. We were at a beach. But anyway, and yeah, like, and all these lucid dreams I've been having lately, they're so awesome because they feel like you're in a different dimension, and it's awesome. And even like when you're with anybody, you feel like if you're with your mom or your cat, it feels like, it just feels like all like more loving and stuff. It's so weird. Okay, so anyway, so the Wal Mart scenario. Okay, so basically I was only in the food section, and under the scenario, the whole food section was about 3 times smaller than what it is in real life when you go into Walmart. It was like 3 times smaller. And there was, like about, 6 or 7 aisles. So it started off, okay, so I go into Walmart, and I only needed like 3 to 4 things. Oh yeah, one of them, and in real life, sometimes I'd go in there and that's all I would need. Like the aliens know, I had been looking for soy sauce at one point, like gluten-free soy sauce, and the beef. So they put all that together. So this time, yeah, when I went to Walmart under this lucid dream, I was looking for 4 things. One of them was meat, and then the gluten-free soy sauce, and the other 2 items I was going to get, I can't remember, but I was only looking for 4 items. And there wasn't a lot of people. There was about 8 people, maybe 8 to 10 people, in that whole food section. And like I say, under the scenario, it felt really different, and felt like a different dimension. And like I say, it was 1/3 the size, the whole food section. And I actually don't remember seeing any produce either, because normally the real Walmart, you go in and you see a bunch of produce. In this scenario, it's like there was, wait a minute, hold on. There was no produce. Or at least I didn't see the produce. Maybe I did, I just don't remember. But I didn't see the produce. But I was going down, I literally was going down each aisle. And so like the second or third aisle, I went down and I was looking for some gluten-free soy sauce. And so it was in the middle of the aisle, and this is all under lucid dream, and they had like 5 different kinds of soy sauce, and they were just all stacked, like 5 different types, different brands of soy sauce. They were all, it was kind of weird because in real life they wouldn't, that's not the first time they've done stuff like that either, where they've stacked stuff up like that. And so in this scenario, all the soy sauces were stacked up, and so I just kept looking, and I just kept looking individually at each one, and I was looking for the words like gluten-free, and I couldn't find any that said gluten-free. I saw a lot of them that said like corn-free, and I'm like, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for gluten-free. The aliens are funny, because I've had that on the brain too a lot about corn and stuff, because corn has gluten in it, but it's not the same type of gluten. So when something says gluten-free, it's only talking about wheat. It's not talking about corn. And so anyway, I remember what the bottles looked like and everything. And all the way from the top, there's like 5 different brands, and I was just looking real closely at the label, and I could never find the gluten-free, or soy sauce that said gluten-free. Okay, so then I started walking around, and I thought, wait a minute, I need to go see if they have any meat. The little burgers, because I buy the little 4-packs burgers, organic beef patties. And so then finally I turned around, and that whole section was like 4 times bigger than what it is in real life. At least that little area, it was like a big area, and I looked over there, and it was in the exact same area like in real life, but the whole area was huge. And just that one little area where they have the organic beef, this whole area was huge under the scenario. And I looked over there, and they just had like a couple of different kind of meats thrown on there, but they didn't have any more patties. And of course, in real life, I would go over there and they wouldn't have the meat patties, or my mom would be like, well, I looked at the meat patties and they didn't have any meat patties. So the aliens like threw all these details together. And, I mean, it's so awesome, these scenarios and stuff that they give me. And okay, so I wasn't able to get my beef patties or the soy sauce. But like I said, I was looking for 2 other items too, and I can't remember what they were. Okay, so then I go into the back aisle, the very back aisle, where the liquor and stuff should have been. But and under the scenario, I don't remember seeing any liquor. There wasn't any liquor as far as I remember. In real life, there's liquor back there. But so this part was funny. Okay, so you know how they give you free what do you call it? Free samples of things? Okay, so they had some free, this part was funny. I don't know if I would have talked about this scenario if it wasn't for this part. And then the other part was cool too, because my sister-in-law, the aliens put my sister-in-law at the last part of the scenario. Okay, so, and like I say, I walked around this Walmart, for hours, not for hours and hours. Well, in non-3D time, it seemed like at least an hour or an hour and a half. But the whole scenario maybe could have lasted 20, 25 minutes. Possibly. But, I go towards, like, where the very far back of the aisle, where they, in real life, they have the deli, I guess that's what it's called. Under the scenario, trying to think. I would say under the scenario, it was like deli stuff. And then they were giving away like some free samples, and I went up to one little shelf or whatever, and I remember seeing a couple guys standing there shopping, and they had free samples of cut up cheese hot dogs. And see, and I used to eat those, not a lot, but occasionally. I can't believe I used to eat that shit. Gross. I used to eat those hot dogs. I would never buy the really, really cheap ones, but that decent brand, where they have the cheese in the hot dogs. And they had free samples, and I popped one in my mouth, maybe 2. I popped a couple in my mouth, and I started chewing it and everything, and I was like, crap, I shouldn't have done that, because I don't know if it's gluten-free. And so then I started spitting it out. And I think there was a little trash can there as far as I remember, and I started spitting it in the trash can, and I was afraid other people would kind of see me, and they would think that I was going to infect them, with the virus, you know what I mean? Because under the scenario, I already knew, that they were trying to limit people, and I already knew about the coronavirus. I already had those thoughts, even under the scenario and stuff. So when I was spitting the hot dog out in the trash can, I was afraid those 2 guys were going to see me and think that I was going to infect them with the coronavirus. But that part was kind of funny. And, like, oh my God, almost freaking every morning I have dreams like that, where I'm eating something, where I'm popping something gluten in my mouth that I shouldn't be eating. They're like fucking nightmares. Okay, so then, the last part of the scenario, and I know I'm forgetting I know I'm forgetting millions of details, because, it's so funny. My scenarios, they're so detailed. I'll be looking at just everything, like, be looking at every single detail, like when I'll be looking at the products and stuff. And I know I looked at some more products up close and personal and stuff, so I know I'm forgetting some things. But the last part of the scenario, okay, so I started walking back towards this way, towards the, up towards the front, where the aisles, or where the rows start, or whatever, the food rows. Now, I don't ever remember actually going to check. I maybe did, but I can't remember. But anyway, the last part of the scenario, so I started coming back towards the front of the store, and I go down the first aisle. And my sister-in-law is working at Wal Mart, which she never worked at Wal Mart, but my sister-in-law was like walking up and down the aisles, zoning things and fixing things. And it was a candy aisle. I mean, I'll be looking over here and looking at all the candy. There'd be like bags of like Milky Ways and bags of, it was like bags of Milky Way, bags of M&Ms. It was all big, about that big candy packages on each side. And that was her job, to zone those two aisles and straighten things up. And I used to work for Walmart, and I used to work in the clothing department, and I used to just walk around, straighten things up. And so that's what she was doing. She was working there. But she never worked there in real life, so that was funny. I don't know why the aliens put her in my scenario. But yeah, so, and we, and I think I said hi, and she said hi. We said a few things. And then, that was basically the end of the scenario, but it was fun. It was much more detailed than that. And intricate and everything. But it was fun. And like I said, I can't remember if I did finally have a couple things in my hand and I went up to check out or not. I can't remember that part. But the last part was basically going down the candy aisle. And, oh yeah, and I did have the thought, when I looked over at one of the bags of candy, I did have a thought of like, I want some of that. And then I thought, no, because I don't think it's gluten-free. So I never did buy any, but I wanted to. Like, I can still eat stuff like that, but I definitely don't trust anything anymore unless it says certified gluten-free. You can't just be eating stuff when a company acts like, they'll act like, oh, well, we don't add any gluten or anything, but also, the product won't say certified gluten-free, and they'll be like, we don't add anything, we don't add any wheat products or anything, and then they'll be like, but in the factory they produce all this wheat shit, other wheat products and stuff, so we can't really guarantee. You can't be eating shit like that. You can only eat shit that literally says certified gluten-free, like that, and this says certified gluten-free. Okay, so the second scenario, see, I buy gluten-free stuff, for the animals now, because I don't even want to be smelling it. Because bread, it just has this hardcore gluten-y smell. And like, I don't know, I don't even want to be smelling it at this point. So I've been buying gluten-free stuff for the animals. For Pablo the possum. At least for now. I may get brave eventually and go ahead and buy some of those cookies that I've been buying. Because gluten-free stuff is 10 times more expensive. I just don't want to be buying any bread because it has a hardcore gluten yeasty smell. And what was I gonna say? Oh, I forgot what I was gonna say. But anyway, I thought I was gonna say something. But okay, so anyway, okay, so the second scenario. Okay, so because like I said, I've been waking up, kind of low blood sugarish. So sometimes I cannot, if my body needs to eat, I cannot fall back to sleep. But it's getting better, so now I can kind of sleep in longer. So this morning, I was able to go back to sleep between like 8 to 10 o'clock. So then I had this other scenario where, okay, let me see. So this is going to be hard to talk about, but it was such a blast. And the aliens have given me a scenario like this almost exactly many times before too. Almost exactly, but not exact. And both scenarios, such a blast. Like, both of them just have this like hardcore feeling, like you're in a different reality, like you're in a different dimension. It's a blast. And so, okay, so the second scenario, okay, I'm trying to think how it started. Well, basically it started like this. Okay, it's coming back to me. Okay, so, it was like me and Truman. I brought Truman with me, Hannah, and Tora. Okay, so, and I was trying to keep them all together and stuff. I was walking around the college campus in Kansas City, and I was walking around SMS in Kansas City, but in real life it's here in this town. But under the scenario, it was in Kansas City. And I was walking around the college campus, and I was inside the building, walking around forever and ever and ever. I think I was trying to find, well actually, I was trying to find my class, and I did finally find it, and I sat there in class forever. And then and then after that, I left Tora and Hannah in that auditorium, and I proceeded to take Truman with me, and I was trying to find the parking lot and my vehicle. And like I said, they've given me scenarios like this over and over again where I just can't ever find my freaking vehicle. And okay, so the scenario starts off where I'm walking inside one of the buildings on the college campus, and like I say, I was at SMS, but in this scenario, it was in Kansas City. And in real life, I graduated from there in real life many, many, many years ago. And okay, so anyway, so me and Truman, and like I say, Tora and Hannah were with me too. And so I was just trying to keep them all together, and I was having a hard time doing that. And so, okay, so the first part of the scenario, I started walking around several different buildings. And like I say, the aliens have given me scenarios like this many, many times before, where I'm walking around college campus inside many, many of the buildings. Several separate buildings. Okay, so we started walking around forever and ever and ever. Finally, I find the auditorium where I'm going to take my class. This auditorium was freaking huge. And the amount of people that was in the auditorium wasn't really that much. I would say about 1/3. I would say it was about 1/3 filled up. And so me and Truman and Tora and Hannah, we were sitting towards, the auditorium had, bleachers, it was huge. We sat towards the left lower part of just a couple, 2 or 3 bleachers up. Me and Truman and Tora and Hannah. So I was sitting there, the instructor was over here at the podium, not far from us, because we were at the corner right here, the left corner. Like, here's the auditorium, and it was like huge. And then we were right here, and sitting here, and then the lady was right here, the teacher, at the podium. She was standing up, and she looked about 45 or 50 or whatever. Not very old, I would say 45 or late 40s. And so I was sitting there, and I'm thinking, why the hell am I taking this class? Like I don't know, sometimes when I have questions like that into my scenario, am I trying to question, like why is the alien giving me this experience, or like, well, like under this scenario, when I was walking around, I mean, I don't remember having the thoughts of, am I under a lucid dream? I mean, sometimes I do, but sometimes I don't. But anyway, so I was like questioning, okay, we sat there for a long time, me and Truman. Tora and Hannah were just on the floor, and they were being good little kitties, but I was trying to make sure I don't lose Truman. And, but we sat there long, I mean, this whole scenario lasted, I was probably in that college, fucking around 6-7 hours in non-3D time. And, okay, so we were sitting there, okay, and guess what it was? It was an art class, and I'm not into art. but it was an art class that I was taking, just one class. And so me and Truman and the cats, two cats were on the floor, Hannah tore it, and so I was sitting there forever and ever and ever. And I started questioning, I'm like, why am I taking this class? I mean, when I don't need to. I graduated many, many years ago. This was all thoughts that I had. Like, I graduated many, many years ago. Why am I taking this class now? And like I said, they've given me scenarios like this many, many times, but not in a long time. They haven't given me college campus scenario, in quite a while. And several years, probably. And like, a lot of times they give me scenarios where I'm trying to, like, well, in real life I already graduated, and under the scenario, I'm trying to get to my last course, my last test, so I could graduate or whatever. And, okay, so the scenario, okay, so finally I'm like, this is, I was thinking in my head, like, this is bullshit. Well, I think I was talking to myself, but I was like, this is bullshit. Like, I'm not going to sit here and take this class when I don't really want to. So finally, me and Truman, I picked Truman up, and I was going to come back and get Tora and Hannah later. I told them to just kind of stay there, and I would come back for them later. But I was still kind of worried as I was walking around, as me and Truman was walking around, I was still kind of worried that, like, I'm trying to keep up with all these cats, and I got to get them in the car so we could go back home. And, okay, here's where the other funny part of the scenario comes in. So eventually, okay, after that auditorium, I took the art class, or after I, wait a minute, I think I'm missing, hold on, I'm forgetting something. Shit, what was the other part I was thinking of? About the art class, some thoughts that I had, the alien put that in there because of the, something, what was it? It's just some dumb little detail about, like, oh shit, I can't remember, but something, it was just some dumb little detail, what was it? That, well, anyway, all I know is I was sitting there and I was thinking, I'm not obligated to take this class. So I don't have to sit here, and I didn't. That's why I got up, and because I knew that I could, is my prerogative, but I can't remember some other little detail I was trying to correlate with work, with some thoughts, about, like, work and stuff, in real life. It's just some dumb little thoughts I forgot that I was trying to correlate. But anyway, and I'm thinking, I know the instructor's not going to get mad because it's my prerogative to leave if I want to. So yeah, so I did, I got the hell up and left. Cause, like, I just knew I didn't have to take the stupid class if I didn't want to. And so then, okay, so I told the two cats to stay there, Tora and Hannah, and then I proceeded to take Truman with me, and we were going to go find the parking lot to where my car is so we could leave. And then I was going to come back for Tora and Hannah. Okay, so then me and Truman we're walking above, on top of the roofs. And that's kind of funny because I was just talking about another scenario that I had a long time ago, where I was walking on top of the buildings, on top of the roof. Remember, Truman? I was talking about that. So, in this scenario, me and Truman, I was trying to hold Truman, and a couple times I would set him down, and I'd be worried that I was going to lose him, and the next thing I know, here he comes, because in real life, he always stays around. He always stays around me, and he may go off, like, I can take him to a big building or something, and he'll go off, and then I'll be like, Truman, and he'll come back to me, like when I took him into my work building. He'll just always stay around. Okay, so we're walking on top of the buildings, on top of the college buildings, and there was some more bleachers, but not like at an angle. Just, there was bleachers over to the left, and we were walking in front of all these people that, okay, the aliens didn't tell me what they were celebrating. I have no idea what they were celebrating. But we were pretty high, on a very high, on top of the campus, one of the buildings. And I looked over this direction, and the only thing I could think of was that they were watching fireworks, because I saw like a couple fireworks. But I kept thinking, what are they celebrating? I couldn't understand what they were celebrating, but the alien didn't tell me that. So I don't know what they were celebrating, but they were looking at fireworks. And me and Truman, we were trying to go find the parking lot because we were lost at that point. We couldn't find the parking lot to where my car was. Because, college campuses are big, And, but like I said, the aliens give me scenarios like this many, many times. Okay, and then there was several people, like middle-aged and beyond, were sitting there over to my left in bleachers and tables, and they were eating like gourmet, like it looks so good, like gourmet strawberries, gourmet watermelon chunks, and they were eating some really good food while they were watching, while they were having the celebration, watching the fireworks. And at that time, it was dusk. It was not daylight. It was dusk. It was almost dark. And but when me and Truman were in the auditorium, I felt like it was like maybe 1 o'clock or something like that. Like it was daylight. Although I don't really know that for a fact. And one of the guys, when I looked over at him, he was an Asian guy, and he was looking at the fireworks. And under the scenario, because April, it just turned to April. We had been in March for like a whole month, and it had just turned to April. Well, under the scenario, I was like, okay, so as me and Truman started to walk in front of all of these people that were celebrating something, and I was thinking in my head, like, why are these dumbasses playing Christmas music? Why am I hearing Christmas music in March? I kept hearing this Christmas music, a normal song, a normal popular song that you hear around Christmas. But I can't remember the song, but it was like a couple normal popular songs that you hear around Christmas, and that they play on the radio all the time, the Christmas, channel. And I'm like, why are these dumbass people, playing Christmas music when it's March? Under the scenario, it was March, the month of March, but in real life, of course, it was April, because it's already April 4th, because I had it this morning. And like I said, the aliens have done that too, like, because to me, it still feels like March, because we've only been in April a couple days. So in the scenario, they programmed it to be March. But I couldn't understand why they were playing Christmas music, because it was March. I knew it was March. Okay, so that part was funny. And like I say, they were just eating this really gourmet good food and shit. Okay, so then me and Truman, like I say, I was going to go back for Tor and Hannah eventually and get them. So I proceeded to just keep walking that direction past all the people. And we kept coming to building after building after building. At some point, we were down on the ground. We were back down on the ground, walking, and I kept trying to find the building and the parking lot. And I kept looking at these buildings, and I'm thinking, well, I'm pretty sure like it's that one over there to the left. But I couldn't figure out how to get there. I couldn't figure out how to like get down to the proper level to walk over there to get to that area where I knew I had parked my car. Okay, so the last part of the scenario, so after I walked past all the people having the party, and I started walking towards my car was parked at the very end of the whole college campus, and then there was one building left right there, and that's where I needed to be, but I couldn't ever figure out how to get over there. So finally, I was down on the ground, and I had Truman with me, and there was I came upon the building that I knew my car was like over here in the parking lot, and the building was just right there, but I knew I needed to be over there. I just couldn't figure out how to get over there. So there was like a black guy janitor that was standing there. And under the scenario, I knew I already met him one other time. I had already been in that building one other time in this scenario. Now, I know it's really weird, but the aliens can make you think that you've already, been in there before under another lucid dream or whatever. And sometimes I have. and sometimes they just program it like that. So that black guy, I seen that black guy before. I knew I had seen that black guy before previously when I went to that campus. And he was a janitor. And his office was like upstairs. And so I told him, I was like, how do I get over there to go get my freaking car and to go to the parking lot? Because I told him I was trying to find my car. And so the black guy looked about late 30s, kind of had long black hair, kind of long hair, and so he's like, yeah, I'll tell you how to get there. Well, first, for whatever reason, he told me how to get there, but and like I say, I already knew I had been in that building before, and I had met up with him before, previously, a long time ago, under the scenario, and so he said yes. He said yes, I'll show you how to get there, but you got to walk up all these stairs first. So I started walking up all these really narrow stairs, and I know this is the weird part, but when I was looking at the walls, it almost seemed like this is really weird, but it almost seemed like I was in like a submarine or something. Like it was like submarine kind of windows, or like, what do you call it? I know it's hard to explain. Like or like what do you call it? Submarine kind of windows, or like cruise ship type of windows, and it was really tight. Like I was, and finally I got up there, and I had Truman with me, and I kept thinking all this time I'm gonna lose Truman, but I never did lose him. He was with me the whole time, and I finally got up on the proper level, at the very top of the stairs, and I started walking, and there was like a bunch of shit in the way, and he had like a little fence there, like a little doggy, when you buy the little doggy fences, like a little animal fence, and I thought that was kind of funny. But anyway, so anyway, I was still trying to figure out, how to get to the car in the parking lot, and I still never got there, as far as I remember. I never got there, but these experiences are so fun, even though they're really hard to talk about, because you're literally just doing mundane things for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, but they're still like so fun. And yeah, hopefully I'll have some more this morning. In the morning, but yeah, so that was, the first one was to Wal Mart, and like I said, both of them felt awesome. Felt like I was in a different dimension. Felt totally awesome. And I need to talk about some of my other experiences that I had a long time ago, but I'll do that tomorrow. But let me see. Oh, I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot of things, because like I say, I walked around hours and hours and hours and hours, but I was trying to think the particular thoughts that I was having when I was in the auditorium, because I remember thinking, like, okay, I was going to tell the instructor something about, hey, I'm not obligated to be here, I don't got to be here, something, and I can't remember what it was exactly, but something that correlated with my workplace and real life. But anyway, it doesn't matter, but they were fun. They're such a blast. Yeah, they're really fun. Okay, thanks for listening. It's time for dinner.